Hi guys, we're going to do a tour now of San Francisco, one of my favorite cities here in the United States. Let's take a look around.
The fishing fleet up on the right, still controlled by the Italian fishermen today. The best seafood restaurant on the wharf is Scoma's. Look off to the water at 1 o'clock. You see the orange sign, Scoma's. That's your best seafood restaurant, but they don't take reservations. Dress as casual. And beat the crowds in before 6 for a table. At 6:37, there's an hour wait for a table there. Travel down the waterfront towards downtown, about 1.5 miles behind us. You're going to find the pier numbers are even. They were separated by the ship's captains years ago because of the fog. Summer months, we get a lot of thick coastal fog out here. The fog was so thick at times, the captains had a hard time finding their way into the port through the fog, so pier numbers were separated to make it easier. Aquatic Park is on your right. As you look out to the water, you'll see Alcatraz, which is the island with the brown buildings, the federal penitentiary from 1934 to 1963. Prisoners told they could never escape. The water temperature too cold. The currents would pull them under. Sharks would attack. But about 3 years ago, a 7-year-old boy made the swim. So the sharks in the bay are small. They're leopard sharks. You got to get out to the deeper water for the great whites out by the Golden Gate Bridge. So right now, to go over a little bit of the history of the area with you briefly, before the Spanish had occupied the area, you found the natives, the Ohlone tribe, which were living near the marshlands of San Francisco Bay as they were hunting both the woods and the waters. In 1769, Spanish explorer Gaspar de Patola discovered the San Francisco Bay, and Father Ginebra Serra and soldiers also traveled the coast in search of safe harbors, where they can come in and build missions, presidios, and establish villages. Presidio in Spanish means fort or garrison. Now keep in mind they traveled the coast in the summer when the seas were calm. Summer's the foggy season that made it difficult to see past the fog towards the bays. The first mission built in San Diego, the second mission to be built in Monterey. Monterey Bay is about a 3-hour drive south of San Francisco. Population back in 1848 was only about 500 people here. A year later, the city's population had grown to 50,000. And California gained its statehood in 1850, which took only 2 years. Usually took about 7 years. Although at the time, the government was after San Francisco Bay. They wanted a large port. And April 18, 1906 was the date of the Great Earthquake. An 8.2 earthquake struck. Gas lines broke, fires started, water lines were broken. The city burned for 3 days and nights. 2/3 of San Francisco destroyed by the fire after the quake of '06. But notice on top of the columns are statues of women looking inwards towards the works of art, in a beautiful spot for wedding photos. Designed by a local architect by the name of Bernard Maybeck. He lived across the bay in Berkeley. You'd also find here on the inside of the complex there's a hands-on museum. It's called the Exploratorium. So you may spend a few hours at the Palace of Fine Arts if you return here. A difficult bridge to build. Well, the workers had to deal with currents, wind, fog, and the depth of the water. The water below the bridge is over 300 feet deep. Joseph Strauss was the chief engineer. Construction had started in 1933. The Golden Gate opened 4 years later, 1937. Was built at a cost of $33 million and 11 lives. A single deck with 6 lanes or sidewalks on both sides. The length of the bridge is 2 miles if you count the approaches. Now between the towers, the Golden Gate Bridge has a 1.2-mile suspension, and the bridge towers are 746 feet tall. At one time, these towers were the tallest structure west of New York.
Well, there really is no mistaking this bridge, an absolutely beautiful bridge. Apparently the colour on it is an international orange, and there's about 38 workers working constantly on this bridge, repainting it and repairing it. Absolutely stunning, and there really is no forgetting it. It's about 2 miles across. It goes from one end of the bay here right to the other over there. It's well worth a visit. If you're in San Francisco or in California, do check out the bridge. It could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And it's definitely one of my favourite bridges in the world.
At the intersection here, look over your right shoulder. You can see the view from Sea Cliff overlooking the bridge here. Now to actually enter Sea Cliff, at the traffic light up ahead, you make a right turn, go down a block. In this neighborhood, Sea Cliff is where Robin Williams lives, Danny Glover, also Sharon Stone. She was once married to the publisher of the San Francisco Chronicle. They divorced, but she still has a home in Seacliff. And the movie Basic Instinct, it was filmed here in Seacliff. Golden Gate Park has always been quite safe. It's well patrolled by the San Francisco Police Department. They do a lot of patrolling in the park by way of officers and horseback. Now as we enter Golden Gate Park, we're coming in near the picnic grounds. The picnic grounds would include barbecue pits, and they stretch out to the ocean to your right about 2 miles. Back in the mid-60s, the hippies were in the picnic grounds. See, the Haight-Ashbury's on the eastern side of Golden Gate Park, so Golden Gate Park was the backyard to the Haight-Ashbury district. The hippies were out here enjoying lots of free rock and roll concerts. Quite a few rock and roll groups had gotten their starts in the picnic grounds in Golden Gate Park. Some of the bands used to perform out here were Janis Joplin, Grace Slick and the Airplane, Jimi Hendrix, Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead, Country Joe and the Fish, Joan Baez. The tea garden was planted by the Hagawa family back in the 1870s. In the garden you find pagodas, walking bridges over ponds, relaxing tea house. The tea house is where the fortune cookie originated, and they're still serving up fortune cookies here at the tea house. You'll find the state flower on both sides here at the stop sign. See the orange poppies here? The state flower, the golden poppy, which is illegal to pick the golden poppies. They're blooming all over California right now. So most things you're looking for in the park are right here in this one location. And to return to Golden Gate Park from downtown, you take a light rail train from Market Street. It's only about a 20-minute travel time. And when you come off the light rail, it's about a 4-block walk into this area. You might see the city of Oakland right across the water from us. There's a silver bridge out there, which is the Bay Bridge that connects our city to Oakland. You sure to see that smoke out there, huh? You barely see Oakland across the water and the Bay Bridge. As you look at San Francisco's skyline, the pointy building is the tallest, the Transamerica Pyramid. 61 floors. It's home to the Transamerica Insurance Company. The building had opened back in '72. Now the tall brown building you can see in our downtown is the second tallest in the skyline. The Bank of America, 52 floors. The Bank of America building is where they filmed The Towering Inferno. That would have been the building on fire in the movie.
Right behind me here we've got the city of San Francisco. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful city.
The city's always had a pretty large gay community. You know, it's a city of different lifestyles. People have always come to this city over the years to live lifestyles of all types. It's a city where people are comfortable living whatever lifestyle they've chosen. It's a city where people mind their own business. People here don't often take double takes. It's a very clean, safe, comfortable city, very diverse and little discrimination. The Castro is off on your right side now. This neighborhood years ago was an Irish community. It was becoming kind of beat up and run down, and this became the gay community back in 1974. The gold leaf was tarnished with pigeon droppings. They got rid of the pigeons. They put 2 falcons up in the dome nesting. The new courthouse on your left side opened about 16 years ago, but blends in nicely with the older buildings. And coming up next block on your left, the old state building, you find the California Supreme Court's in here. And right across the plaza to the right, Civic Auditorium. It used to be the convention center years ago. And up ahead of us, the Asian Art Museum. The Asian Art Museum was out at Golden Gate Park, but the museum was damaged by the earthquake of '89. So the Asian Art has moved the Civic Center into the old main library. Now the new library was built just to the right of the Asian Art Museum. So around the park you find department stores. Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, Macy's. But keep in mind, there's more shopping on Market Street. Go down Powell to the right a few blocks, you come out to Market. At Market and Powell, you'll find the Westfield Center, the only indoor mall in the downtown. You'll find in that mall, Nordstrom's and Bloomingdale's. It's a beautiful Bloomingdale's. It's worthwhile just to walk through the store, even if you don't purchase something. It opened about 2 years ago. Took them years to build the store, did a beautiful job with it. So go down and see the Bloomingdale's. Going out to lunch in Chinatown, some of the small little inexpensive restaurants are great for lunch. The real popular restaurant is the House of Nanking on Kearny, or you find Hunan Homes on Jackson. Another restaurant that's been written up in tour books for a lot of years is a restaurant called Sam Wu. It's on Washington. See the cathedral, St. Peter's and Paul's. That's where Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio had their wedding photos taken on the steps in front. They weren't married in the cathedral. It wasn't permitted. They'd already been both married, divorced, so they were hitched at City Hall. Their photos were done on the steps at St. Peter's and Paul's.